Welcome to another Yarn Stash Roulette. I'm sure I should be doing other kinds of videos, but this is really fun for me and you guys seem to like it. So I'm going to keep doing it. In the future, I do have two other types of videos. One is spin the whip wheel, which I have done before on my channel. You can go check it out if you want. I guess I'll link it. Where I have a bag of mostly crochet whips that are in various stages of doneness, and I just kind of ignore their existence. So spinning the whip wheel for that is what helps me churn through those. So thought about doing that today. Decided against it. And I have a small window of time today where I'm back in my craft room. It's very messy in here, even though I haven't been in here. I don't care. So I'm going to utilize this small window of time and we're going to spin the yarn stash wheel again. Unbelievable. Here comes Pumpkin. The other thing I wanted to say is that I have a lot of vintage knitting and crochet books. I actually went thrifting and picked up some hot new ones like a week ago. You're going to be thrilled when you see them. They're like 80s colorwork sweater pattern books. So that's right up my alley. You have no idea. Anyways, I don't know if you can relate. I rarely actually knit things from these like vintage knitting books that I'm picking up. So I was thinking about doing another spinning the wheel type of video, but with books. And then whatever book it lands on, I have to pick something from that book and crochet or knit it. So let me know if that is something that you're interested in. It'll take a little bit of setup when I have some more time, but I think that would be really, really fun. Let's get down to business. If this is your first time here, welcome. Pumpkin, that's plastic. You can't eat that. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Savannah. I like to do fiber arts like knitting and crochet and whatever else. And I'm just a regular person. And if you are too, welcome. That's it. That's my spiel. I'm doing this yarn stash roulette challenge because I have a lot of yarn, obviously. And most of it's unlabeled. Most of it's acrylic, actually. And I'm trying to burn through it so I can stuff more yarn on these shelves. Period. Let's spin. We're spinning for 4 things. What are they, brain? Oh, okay. The first thing we spin for is knit or crochet. If I get crochet again, I might lose my mind. I love to crochet, but so far we're on a 3-to-1 crochet to knit situation and I am dying to knit. Call me crazy, would love to knit. Here we go. Knit or crochet. Pray for me. It's close. It's close. Oh my God. Oh my God, you guys, don't panic. We finally get to knit something. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. Next, we're going to spin for the yarn color. I did something so crazy. I coordinated the pie slices with the actual color that is written on the pie slices. Yarn shelf color. Mint. Knit something mint. A couple years ago, I went through a mint phase, circa 2015, and then it passed, and now I have a lot of mint yarn, but we're going to use some of it today. That means there's going to be a lot to weigh. Now we're spinning for the yarn weight on the shelf. I think that's DK. DK. Only time will tell if I have DK mint yarn. Last one. The last thing we spin for is the finished object type. Oh, that was beautiful when it spun. Is that another tapestry? Okay. I don't know what I wanted, but I don't think I wanted a knit tapestry. I will say that. I don't think that's what I was really envisioning. Okay. A knit tapestry. Tapestry crochet traditionally is like essentially equal to color work knitting in terms of the fact that you're changing color yarns with your stitches to create a design. That's what tapestry crochet is. That's what colorwork knitting is, or intarsia, or like you have to use different techniques for knitting. What's the other one? Duplicate stitch, whatever. So here's what I'm thinking. Does tapestry finished object mean that I have to create a tapestry, like a decor? Or does it just mean I have to use that technique? We've never thought about this before. Actually, this has just occurred to me that tapestry crochet, like a tapestry wall hanging, is decor. And we do have a home decor section. So I think, even though I'm the one that created this wheel, I think then that means that it's more about the technique than it is about the decor aspect of it. Perhaps. Like I said, I didn't say it in this video, but I've said it before. It's my craft room. I play God in here. So I'm going to interpret knit tapestry, I think, to just include whatever colorwork knitting thing that I want. Still have to find something though. And I'm going to start looking. It could be a wall hanging. I'm not totally counting that out, but it could be anything, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to start looking. Ooh. And I have to catalog the yarn and weigh it all. Oh my God. My scale is at my parents' house. Dang it. What the heck? Bad news, folks. My scale is at my parents' house because I'm working on another project where I needed to split the yarn evenly for both sleeves. So I had to bring the scale there. And did I bring it back? No. Dang it. In the meantime, I'm going to do some research on what I could possibly make because that takes time as well. So I'm going to look some things up and then I'll get back to you. Okay, see you in a little bit. Okay, it's actually been a couple of weeks. I'm ready to tackle weighing all of this mint yarn and cataloging it so I can figure out what exactly I want to make. I haven't decided what I'm going to make, and it's kind of been stopping me from making any sort of progress. Just my own, you know. It's kind of like a barrier to starting. Also, my craft room was so messy, and my table was so messy, and I knew I didn't have the space to take all this yarn down and weigh it. So that also prevented me from starting. Today I did the work. I cleaned the craft room. The desk is the emptiest it's ever been. I'm ready to weigh some yarn. So let's get into it. Also, you guys did seem to enjoy my little tidbits on the yarn, the weird ones, or anything I had to say about it instead of just a montage. There's a lot of yarn here, so we're gonna see how it goes. But if I have something to say, you know me, I'll say it. Okay, first of all, shout out. First amigurumi I ever made in my entire life. Slay. One of these legs, this white one, is much bigger than the rest. So I sewed her on in the back. Hydration check. Okay, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I don't know why I don't want to, but I can. I can do this. Ooh. What if I just said ooh for every single one? Remember we rolled for DK. So as I'm pulling DK off of the shelves, or what looks like DK, I'm going to set it to the side. This is a DK. Slay! This is not. This is so not. What is this? What is this yarn and how did I get it? And also, what did I make with it already? Because there's not much here. I have no idea. Oh my God. I wish I could remember buying this chainette yarn because I have so much gray, and then that's the second mint one I've found. Spooky. This yarn is crazy. Partially boucle, question mark? Partially like worsted spun. This is a strange little yarn. Why do I have it? Oh my God, I have to show you guys something really cool. Hello, welcome to Tangent Corner. Okay, I got this at Barnes & Noble, and basically I was thinking to myself, how come I've never checked Barnes & Noble's knitting section? Because it's small, probably, and vintage books are more fun. However, I did find Vogue Knitting, the completely revised and updated Vogue Knitting. Roxanne Richardson has talked about this before. This book is crazy. Check this out. Yeah, it's what the different fibers look like, ho. Wool roving, llama, alpaca, acrylic, merino, recycled, cashmere, cotton, wool, yak, raffia, linen, yarn fibers. But there's actually like something I really actually did want to show you. Ooh, they have a page on gauge and yarn weights. Very handy. This is what I wanted to show you. Yeah. But they have pictures. Remember I was like, what's it called? What's this type of yarn called? Okay, so the squiggly one is boucle. Boucle is so interesting. It's like bubbly. It looks like they scrunched the yarn up and then sewed over it. Okay, this yarn, where it looks like two different colors are plied together, is called marl. So this is marled when it's two colors plied together. And then I don't have a good example, but the one where it looks like two plies and one is like a fluffier yarn, bigger yarn, and the other one is like thread, it looks like. That is called wrapped yarn, wrap yarn. Isn't that interesting? Anyways, marl and wrap, that's gonna help me catalog the yarns and also be able to describe like what I'm looking at. Marl and wrap. I don't have an example of the wrap one. This yarn is so elastic. I think I don't have anything interesting to say about any of these. Oh, just kidding. I don't know what this is or why it's in a ball. It looks chainette though, but it's different than this one. You know what I just remembered? My ex-husband's ex-girlfriend brought me like 2 big trash bags full of yarn that she got off like Facebook Marketplace or something like that. It was so random. I don't know why she did that, but maybe some of these mystery yarns where I don't know where I got it or why I have it, maybe some of them are from that. That made me feel a little bit better about why don't I recognize anything. Okay, check this out. This yarn is so old. I actually remember crocheting with this yarn when I was 11 years old, trying to learn how to crochet for the first time. So this yarn is 20 years old. I don't even know how I got it. It's not like I went to the store and bought it. But my best friend's, at the time, my best friend's mom was like a knitter. So maybe she gave it to me? I've never made anything with that successfully. I think I have one granny square deep in the bowels of my closet that was made with that 20 years ago. Ooh, slay. That was a fun surprise. I really like this. I would love to knit something with this because it's beautiful. It's definitely Aran, which I've never confirmed before, but a thick worsted, that's an Aran, girl. This is fun. Yes, that is a pom-pom ribbon. I have used this, but a pink version as a little decorative edge to a crochet hamster. So it can be used. I've done it. Why am I showing you every single one? This is scrubby yarn for making dishcloths. The way that I don't give a fuck about this, but I'll never get rid of it. I just need to make like 60 dishcloths and then get this out of my freaking stash. Interesting. This is like teal. I don't think this belongs on this shelf. I think it... Oh, you know what happened actually? Originally it was like classic blue and then like sage green, and then teal and mint were on the same shelf. But then things have gotten messed up since I ran out of room. So whatever, figure it out later. Doesn't matter. This yarn is old and I'm not actually sure what... Is it self-striping? I don't know what it actually looks like when it's worked up, but it's DK. So that's an option. And then these two I just found from my parents. They give me yarn when they find it in their house. Bernat Softy Baby. I'm not sure if you're clocking this, but so far, first labels. And also probably old. But it is soft, and it's a DK. And there's 140 grams in each, and I have 331 meters. So what could I do with, 662 meters of yarn? I don't know, but that feels like a lot. It feels like a lot of yarn. And then this is my other fun thing. I found this in a thrift store. It's Barocco Vintage. It's 52% acrylic, 40% wool, 8% nylon. It's a worsted weight, so I don't get to use it today. But it's really pretty, and I was mostly just excited to find Barocco in a thrift store with the tag on. So that's 2. Pretty cool. And then these are just my scraps. Let's do this. Time to weigh it. Okay, folks. interesting discoveries have been made. First of all, I forgot to guess how much yarn I thought was on the mint shelf. My bad. Oops. You can guess if you want to in the next 3 seconds. The total yarn on the mint shelf is 3,081 grams of yarn. I will say that is excluding that teal stack, because I have teal over here and why are they in 2 spots, and I don't know. It's kind of a mess. I don't know. I really don't have an explanation, but I've only put back mint on the mint shelf. Okay, so 3,081 grams of mint yarn on the mint shelf. Second of all, I think I found my pattern. If you'll recall, the only parameters for what we spun for Yarn Stash Roulette was a DK weight mint yarn knit tapestry. Mint tapestry, I'm thinking color work. And then if, you know, color work is the only requirement, then I can turn that into anything I want, basically. That's how I'm rationalizing this, because I don't really want to. Here's actually the reason why. It's because I spun for DK weight yarn that I want to make it into a garment. And here's why. I think DK weight is a lovely weight of yarn for a garment, and I don't have very much of it. I don't really know. Here's one thing, I'm not totally sure, but I kind of want to use my DK weight yarn for garments. So since I spun for DK, I would really like to make a garment with that yarn. That's why I want to use tapestry to make a garment. I'm rationalizing it to myself, so that's why we're rocking like this. So I think I found a pattern. Oh, I just realized it's by Sari Nordland. Okay, it's a free pattern. It's basically for a child's tank top. It's called Summer Child Knitted Top by Sari Nordland. It's just like a Henley style tank top with a cute little picot edge. 2 buttons. It's real cute. Up to sizes. Oh my god, it's in centimeters. Anyways, it's basically the full spectrum of like child sizes. So it goes up to like a 9-10. So I'm going to make this for my daughter. And I've been collaborating with her in terms of pattern. Pattern was a lot easier. Color work was like way harder to settle on something, because there's a lot of big concepts. You know, we can't pick something huge because the stitch count matters. And because this is a little Henley style with the buttons, it just shifts the images lower on the garment. So if it was anyways, it was a lot of big concepts. Okay, here's what we decided on. I'll put the pictures up. Dragon on the front, cat on the back. Slay. Okay, she knows what she wants. She's a diva. Only changes we're making is that the dragon's going to be purple instead of green. Because duh, that makes sense. I have to do a swatch, which I haven't done. But this is a DK weight yarn. I'm liking it. It has like a little bit of color variation. You see it's a little lighter right here. I don't think it's like striping or anything like that. I just think there's a little bit of color variation. So maybe that will be interesting to look at. Okay, there's for definitely 153 grams. Do I think that will be enough? Not sure. Do you think this came from this? There's also this, which is very similar. 190 grams. I don't know. I'm going to do a gauge swatch, actually, and go from there. And I also need to find, like, all the colors that I need, actually, which I just thought about. Like, the purple for the dragon and the white for the cat. I need to make sure that I have DK weight yarn in all those colors. So let me go investigate, because if I don't, because this is pretty thin, this might actually be free. You know what? Enough messing around. Let's wraps per inch this hoe. Okay, this is 10, 12, 14, 16. I don't think this is DK. Am I crazy? DK is 11. This is like fingering weight. That's crazy. That means this is fingering. That means that's fingering. What? Interesting things have happened since I last talked to you. First of all, I think I was doing wraps per inch a little bit too tight. So it was distorting the data. So I redid that. I looked up on the Craft Yarn Council how to measure wraps per inch, and it said don't wrap it too tightly, and I was like, ooh. I was getting 11 wraps per inch with this skinnier yarn that I thought was fingering yesterday. I don't know. Anyways, I was getting 11 wraps per inch, which according to the Craft Yarn Council is a 3 light yarn, which DK falls under that category. A fine weight yarn will have 12 to 18 wraps per inch. A number 3 light yarn will have 11 to 15 wraps per inch. And then a 4 medium, like worsted, yarn will have 9 to 12 wraps per inch. There's some overlap with these, obviously. Another thing I was thinking about was I made a swatch in the thicker yarn. These are the 2 yarns in question. This one is thinner and this one is a little bit thicker. I wasn't sure if this one was DK or like a light worsted. I don't know. My whole world flipped upside down yesterday, but I think I've found solid ground again. Because I thought this was fingering and I thought this was DK. But anyways, so I started knitting a swatch with the thicker one, and this is my swatch. I did a couple rows in a 4mm hook, and then I did a purl row to distinguish once I switched to a 4.5mm hook. And it's okay, it's not bad. It's just not really what I wanted for a summer garment. I just thought it was like too thick. It reminded me a lot of just like a worsted weight garment, like acrylic garment that I've been making, and I wouldn't want to wear that in the summer, so I didn't want to use this thicker yarn. Then I knit a swatch in the thinner yarn using 4mm, and I liked the fabric a lot more. It's a lot more drapey, I guess, and it's like a little bit of a looser gauge. So I liked this a lot. I did a lot of math. Are you ready for this? I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough yarn to complete the project. So I made my swatch. I counted the stitches in the swatch. Multiplied stitches I cast on by rows I knit. Okay, obviously I used my gauge swatch to like measure my gauge. So with 4mm needles and the thinner yarn, I'm only using the thin one from now on. I got 5.5 stitches per inch and 7.5 rows per inch. The rows per inch were like a little bit harder to measure because I gave up after like not even 2 inches of swatching. So that one's a little bit of a guess. But I did measure in 3 different places, but I could only measure 1 inch, which is not ideal. So that one is a little bit like, we're gonna check my row gauge as I continue in the project. Number of stitches multiplied by number of rows was 476 stitches just in this little swatch. And then I weighed the swatch and it was 3 grams. Then I did like a ratio cross multiplication situation where I took the swatch, which was 3 grams over 476 stitches, equals my total weight of the yarn, 153 grams over unknown number of stitches. If 3 grams of yarn can get me 476 stitches, I want to know how much 153 grams of yarn, how much stitches that can get me total. Did the math, cross multiply, and then you divide. Supposedly, 153 grams of this yarn knit in a 4mm needle will get me 24,276 stitches. Then I have to figure out, well, how many stitches are in this project? I'm going to link this video. Roxanne Richardson, in one of her Casual Fridays, explained how she charts using a spreadsheet all her projects. She uses a spreadsheet to figure out the total number of stitches for a project, and then she can calculate like the percentage of the way done she is with the project and stuff like that. Really interesting. I've never done a spreadsheet for a project before. Like I said, I'll link the video because it's fascinating. I'm not sure I've even read through an entire pattern before starting before, but I'm really glad I did it for this project in particular because the instructions are like, I don't know if you've ever been on the Drops website, but the instructions, it's like a picture and then all the instructions are just like pretty terse next to the picture of the, and that's it. It's not like a proper PDF or like a, you know, it's not like a separate document. It's just on a website. Oh, here's how you knit it. So it took me like an hour and a half to go through the instructions line by line and transcribe it into a spreadsheet, like an Excel spreadsheet. And then Roxanne Richardson uses like formulas to make it do the math for like running total of stitches, which is fascinating. I had to redo it because in the instructions, there's this type of decrease terminology that I've never seen before. So it'll say on every other row, bind off 1 or 2 or 2 or 3 or 3, depending on the size. So I'm knitting the largest size, so it was 3. On every other row, bind off 3 times 2 stitches and 2 times 1 stitch at both ends for the armholes, equaling 60 stitches. I started with 76 back stitches. So then I have to figure out what that means. Bind off 3 by 2 stitches and 2 by 1 stitches? So confused. I Googled it. I was like, what does 2 by 1 decrease in knitting mean? Took me to some Reddit page. Apparently it means 3 by 2 stitches. It means 2 stitches 3 times. So bind off 2 stitches 3 times and 1 stitch 2 times at both ends for the armholes, equaling 60 stitches. This got me so bad and I had to redo it like 3 times, okay? Without charting, I'm not sure that I would have been able to figure these instructions out. I'm being so for real. Basically, I charted it out line by line. No, it's not really a chart how you think of it. It's like a spreadsheet. I figured it out. I put it in the spreadsheet. I'm not sure the terminology. But anyways, first of all, let me just say I did the best that I could. Back to my swatch weight math. I have 153 grams of yarn, and that supposedly will get me 24,276 stitches. That's how many stitches I can knit with my amount of yarn. According to my chart, this project requires 24,140 stitches. So that's 136 stitches left in the yarn. You know what I mean? That is such a small margin. If all my math is correct, that's a small margin. That's a little bit spooky. There's not much I can do about it. I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that everything works out. As far as the design goes, they're so small. I think I'm just gonna duplicate stitch them. I'm not sure if that really classifies as doing knit tapestry, but I also don't have to worry about that until a little bit farther up in the project. If I was doing like intarsia, like big intarsia chunks, then it would save on yarn because, you know, you just kind of twist them and then leave this one, and then you're only working one, there's no like floats in true intarsia, but I'm not doing intarsia. The designs are really small, so even if I did the designs as I was knitting, it would have to be color work. So I'd have to hold both strands. I would have like a, what is that called? Oh, I would have like running floats behind the design. So it would take less yarn to cross those stitches as a float than it would to knit it, obviously, but it's such a small design. I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference to just duplicate stitch it. Something I am considering for saving on yarn is to do all the picot edging in a different color. There's a picot stitch along the collar, the armholes, and the bottom. And the way that the bottom works is you cast on, you knit until you have like 2 centimeters, then you do this picot stitch all the way around, you're knitting in the round. Then you continue knitting and eventually you're gonna flip that and sew it down so that the picot edge is at the bottom and the original 2 centimeters of stockinette is flipped on the inside and sewed down. So I'm hoping that I can use a different color for that picot stitch and save on some yarn in that way. I don't know. I don't even know if I have enough yarn to do that in a different color, but I'm gonna figure it out. Anyways, that's where I am right now. I think I've done all the math. I think it's gonna work out. Only time will tell. I've cast on. This is all I've done. 3 rows of stockinette stitch. I just wanted to tell you all about my math and my spreadsheets and my plan, and then now I'm just gonna work on it. I'll be curious to see at the end if my spreadsheet was way off or if it was anywhere near correct. Just wanted to give a couple updates. Worked on this last night. Realized 2 things. 1, The cast on to the picot edge where it's going to get flipped and sewn, this could have been any color because it gets flipped under. So tell me why I wasted some of my yarn doing it in this color. I did remember I have this ball of yarn and it's not the same yarn as my main yarn. It's a little bit lighter. I was pretty sure it was the same weight or similar. You know me and weights of yarn apparently. So I did take that opportunity to test it out. So I did 2 rows in the lighter ball of yarn. And I think the weight is the same. I think it works. And it's subtle. So if I start getting scared of yarn later on, maybe I can keep doing just like 1 row here, 1 row there, because there's already a little bit of color variation in the main color yarn. So that's my cushion. My second cushion is that I decided to do the picot edge in this yarn. I had 2 options, this one or this one. I liked them both. This one was a little bit thicker than my main color yarn. This one is maybe a little thinner, but this one was more spot on. And I just liked these colors together better than these ones. This one is pretty shiny and I felt like these ones went better together. So I don't know. Anyway, so I did the picot edge. I did the row before the picot and then the knit 2 together yarn over row and then the next row, all in purple, because I wasn't sure which aspect of those instructions was actually going to give the picot edge and which one would be visible. So I just did 3 rows of purple just to be safe. And doing 3 rows of purple gives me more cushion on my main color. Because originally the margin for error, if you will, was like 130 stitches or something like that. And each row I cast on 164 stitches. So each row that I don't do in the main color is more of a cushion for the whole project. So far I have 5 rows that I haven't done in the main color. So that's pretty exciting. So the way the picot edge, I was like a little confused because it's just holes, yeah? But then when you fold the edge, and you might already know this, but this is my first time doing a picot edge. When you fold it, then you get these cute little purple lumps. I love that. That's thrilling to me. So that is the edge of the shirt. I think that's adorable. The pattern just says to sew it in after, sew down this bottom edge, and I haven't sewed it down because I wanted to show you the stripes really clearly, but I think I'm just gonna do like where I fold it back and then, ooh, I don't know what it's called, and then like pick up a stitch from the bottom cast on edge and then knit the 2 stitches, the live stitch and the cast on edge, knit them together all the way around. Unless that's stupid and I'm wrong, but it feels right. It feels like a decent alternative. So anyways, I'm going to do that. And then there's a bunch of stockinette and then there's more instructions later. So, and I'll have to wait until there's a bunch of stockinette to measure my row gauge because it seems on, but I've only done like 1 inch and then a picot and then 1 inch. So there's not enough information. At least there's not more information than last time to figure out if my row gauge is on or not. Anyways, that's my progress. You guys, I could cry. I won't though, but I could. Roxanne just commented on one of my videos. Oh my god. I love her so much. Okay, everything's fine, but that was so sweet. I'm actually like a little bit tore up about this. Okay, that's so nice of her. Okay, let's talk about knitting. Okay, I have a little bit of updates for you. I'm just so touched. Love her to bits. Did you watch it? What is happening? Oh my god. She's my idol. Here's how much progress I've made. Oh my god. Wow, I'm actually like so touched. Okay, that's so sweet of her. Oh my gosh, she took time every day. I can't believe she took time every day to look at my video and then comment on it. What's happening? Okay.
my God, you guys, I'm just a regular person. It's getting worse. Okay, everything's fine. Be chill. Hey, here's how much knitting I've done. A little bit of updates. It's really scrunched up on the needles, so just ignore that. And then I have to confess, I did something so stupid. Are you ready? I told you about the dragon image and then the cat image. My daughter wanted the dragon on the front and then the cat on the back. So I went on Stitch Fiddle because the picture I saved from Pinterest is just knitted fabric. It's not actually like a pixel grid. Okay, this is knit in the round. When am I gonna learn this lesson? I have done over half of the cat. I did the first row of the cat and then I remembered, oh yeah, you can't really do intarsia in the round. You can't, actually. I tried to look it up. Can't do intarsia in the round because you switch colors. Even if you carry both of them at the same time, the background is blue and then you use the white yarn and then you switch to blue and you do blue. And then when you get to the beginning of your color work again, your white yarn is still over here. Either you'd have to like cut it. I don't know if people do this. Cut it and just have like a million, you know, ends to weave in at the end. I don't know if you've ever seen when people do in the round swatches. There's a technique that you can do that, let's say the beginning of my swatch is over here. And so I've knit across the swatch and then you pull out some yarn, pinch it, and you knit across with this loop. And ideally it uses up all of it. And then you can knit from the working yarn again. So that's what I chose to do. I was like, I'm a fucking genius. I'm gonna pull a loop and knit with the loop. And then the next time I come around on the round, I'll knit with the working yarn. And then the next time I come around, I'll pull another loop. And anyways, I'm sure you'll be shocked to hear that it was a disaster because I could never perfectly guesstimate how long to make the loop. And then after every row, like using the loop, I'd have to painstakingly, if I had like extra loop left over, I was like retensioning everything one stitch at a time to make it all even. And then anyways, so because of that, my tension is really bad in those parts. And in fact, I had to go through with tweezers and fix entire rows of the white stitches so that they would look and be more even because it was just bad. They were all over the place. So this is what the back of it looks like. And see how there's all these extra loops over here and over here. And I think at the very end, I'm just going to have to tack those down to keep the tension. Like go back maybe with blue or something and tack those loops down. Okay, so I don't recommend don't do what I did. That was silly. You know what I should have done? Duplicate stitch. And in fact, I gave up on the rest of the cat, with this stupid method, and I am just gonna duplicate stitch it at the end. So I learned something. This is not the first time that I've had to learn this lesson, but I had the good sense to give up on it the first time. But I tried to do the dragon vest for my daughter in the round, similar construction to this, I guess. And then I was like, I tried a million ways. I was like, I can't do intarsia in the round. I think you just can't. Let me know, actually, if anyone knows of a way to do intarsia in the round. If there's something that makes more sense that I'm missing, or how you would do it, or if it's not real and you can't, and you just have to either duplicate stitch it or knit things flat. But anyways, when I was doing the dragon vest, I was like, I should just knit this flat. What am I doing? So then I did just knit it flat and it was a lot easier. Duh. So that's where I am on this. Decapitated cat, complete. I have to knit stockinette in the round for 30 centimeters. I almost forgot. Oh my God, I'm halfway there. Okay, I'm halfway there. I'm at 15 centimeters. When I was transcribing the pattern into the spreadsheet, it was really easy to just like do the math and be like, oh yeah, I have to do 90 rows according to my gauge. Remind me to talk about gauge. 90 rows of stockinette in order to get to the next set of instructions, which is separating for the sleeves. And I have the running total of stitches, but it didn't like, I was like, oh, 90 rows. God, I was just filling information in. And then now that I'm like, oh my God, I'm only halfway there and I'm looking back at my spreadsheet. Yeah, it jumps from the picot edge. I had 1,800 stitches, and by the end, when I'm ready to separate for the sleeves, I'll have 16,500 stitches. Yeah, there's like 15,000 stitches between me and separating for the sleeves, which is just interesting to think about. Gauge. I measured my gauge, not on the cap part because that doesn't count, but just on the plain stockinette. My real gauge is a little bit different than my swatch gauge. So in my swatch, I was getting 5.5 stitches per inch and 7.5 rows per inch. And on the actual garment, I'm getting 6 stitches per inch and 7 rows per inch. I don't know if that matters. Okay, so I have 15 more centimeters. I just wanted to tell you about this stupid cat and also about Roxanne. Love her. Okay, 15 more centimeters to go. Okay, couple of updates. I finished the first ball of yarn, 1 out of 2. And they weigh almost the exact same. One is 77 grams and one is 78 grams. So it's basically like halfway through the yarn. Duh. And also I finished doing the stockinette up until the underarms. So I need to do 1 more row before it's officially 30 centimeters from the picot edge. This is my tail, so I'll connect the new ball and then do that last row, and then I'll split for sleeves. Well, split for, you know what I mean. It's a tank top. There are no sleeves, but you know what I mean. I mentioned that I used Roxanne Richardson's method of doing a spreadsheet for each pattern that she does because I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough yarn. And when I originally did the spreadsheet, I didn't do the percentage done that Roxanne does. I don't know why. I just didn't. But then I went back and saw how she did it, and then I inputted it into my spreadsheet. So finishing the body of the tank top is completing 68% of the project, which is insane. But good news, I don't know if it's because I did the 3 rows of purple in a different color than the body, or if it's because I did this stupid intarsia thing, but completing 68% of the project on only 50% of my yarn makes me feel really good about having enough yarn for this whole project. This is the second ball of yarn that I'm working with. It has my swatch still attached to it. I'm just gonna unravel this so that I can start with this yarn. So I just wanted to show you my progress so far. There's nothing left to do but keep working on this. Okay, I have a couple of updates. I have completely finished the back. So I split for sleeves. Ignore the headless cat. I split for sleeves, and then I did the back panel, and then you bind off in the middle and do your shaping, and then leave these on hold because I think we're gonna 3 needle bind off these stitches to the front stitches. We'll see. I might 3 needle bind off. I might just Kitchener stitch it, like graft it together. Depends. I'm undecided. Anyways, and then I'm working on the front, and I just got to the part, it's like a little bit of a Henley style. So I just got to the part where I need to do the split in the middle, and then I'll do one finish off each side of the tank top. After that, I'm pretty sure the button band for the Henley is worked at the same time. And then after you finish both sides and graft the shoulders together, then there's some finishing work, some detail picot edges that go on the sleeves. And I think the collar, but I'll have to double check. It's been like 2 days since I've worked on this, so I'm trying to remember. And then we'll be done. Couple notes on my gauge. When I was working in the round, my gauge was 7 rows per inch. And then once I switched to back and forth, it was 8 rows per inch. Part of the reason for that is that I was using 2 different size needles when I was working in the round, a smaller one on the left-hand needle so that the stitches glide off easier. Then I forgot to change it once I switched to working flat. It's fine. I'm actually like not that caught up about it. So I was already mostly done with the back by the time I realized, and I just can't be bothered. So that's just what this project is. It's just slightly different. And my swatch gauge was 7.5 rows per inch. So it all evens out. That's how I'm thinking about it. 7, 8, 7.5, whatever. I have been updating my spreadsheet as I go though, just with like the actual things I'm doing. It'll be like knit for 13 centimeters. And then I was doing the math and guessing that that would be 90 rows. And then when I actually did it, it was 85 rows. So I've just been updating my spreadsheet with the real numbers, and it's been slightly changing my stitch count, but actually
my overall stitch count has been going down. It's hard to do a spreadsheet for the first time, and there were certain things I didn't think about, like once I start doing the next step, if it was on a purl side or a knit side. So there was times when I thought I would have to purl across when I was doing my spreadsheet. I thought I would have to purl and then do the decrease on the knit side. But when I got to the project, I had just purled already. So that deleted like a whole row of stitches because I didn't have to purl across. I had already just purled. Things I wasn't thinking about when I was making the spreadsheet and that I got to update, and it brought my overall stitch count down by like 500 stitches at least. We're looking good on yarn. We're looking very good on yarn. I'm not worried about it, actually. Just gotta do the picot edge and then I'll be done. Totally forgot I'm putting a dragon on this. Do the dragon and finish the cat head. Then I'll be done. I have a couple updates on the tank top. I did in fact finish the cat. The tension was so bad on this. From where I tried to intarsia the cat in, the tension was so bad right in the middle. The blue yarn, I just held it too tight when I was knitting it, so it was really like cinched in and I couldn't stand it. So I cut the blue yarn, unraveled it a little and like just sewed those ends in. But unfortunately, now this whole middle body of the cat is like, it doesn't have any blue behind it. So it's not as thick. It's kind of wholly, you can tell it's just like a single strand right here and everywhere else it's double. But where I duplicate stitched it from, you can tell where from here up, looks really good. I'm just irritated that I just didn't do that from the very beginning. Let this be the last time I learn this lesson. Duplicate stitching is good and it looks good, and you're not saving any time trying to do intarsia for things that don't work for it. Like knitting in the round. Stop knitting intarsia in the round. Anyways, cat. Secondly, I decided not to do the picot edge around the armholes. I had my daughter try it on before I blocked it, but I think this garment is going to fit this summer, and that's it. And I think it would be uncomfortable to have a picot edge around the armholes, really, because the picot edge is like double folded, and then you have to sew it down. It's a pretty thick little edge, so I just didn't think that would be very comfortable. I already don't know the fiber content of this yarn, so it might be warm anyways, and I just didn't want some more stuff to be under her arm, so no picot edge around the arms. It's gonna roll a little bit, but it's fine. And I'm learning for the picot edge around the collar, I picked up in blue, then I knit one round in blue, then I switched to purple, knit around, did the yarn over knit two togethers, knit around. Turns out it's not just the 3 rows that make the picot edge. It's all 5 of them. So I should have picked up in blue and then knit the first round in purple instead of knitting it in blue first, because it's just the tips of the picot that are purple. The back of it is totally purple, which is adorable. This is just the tips, basically. Which I don't love, but I wasn't going to redo. This has been a learning process. That's okay. Like I said, this is only going to fit her this summer. So it doesn't have to be the most perfect thing anyways. And the sooner I finish it, the sooner she can wear it this summer. Now we know. I had never done a picot edge. I wasn't sure exactly which rows contributed to the picot look. Now I know. Basically, it's all 5 rows. Oh, the last thing I wanted to say about the cat is that while I did block this, I made all the changes to the cat after I blocked it. So I'm going to block it again and hopefully it will, I mean, this white part is cotton, so I don't think it's going to like bloom. I wish it was wool so it would kind of fill in those spaces, but I am going to block it again. Hopefully it'll just give it more of a uniform look. And if not, oh well. Even though the cat looks a little wonky and barren right in the middle where I had to take the blue out, I'd still take this over the pulled in tension. The tension sucked. I don't regret cutting this. The tension was actually driving me insane. Okay, the last thing I need to do for the tank top, first of all, I need to find buttons for this little part right here. I need to duplicate stitch the dragon on the front. I will put a lovely photo of the dragon in question. I haven't picked the fire colors out yet. I'm not feeling very optimistic about having DK weight red. I think we just went through this and I don't have DK weight red, but I'm gonna see if I can make something happen because it's only a little bit. I'll make it happen probably, but I just haven't looked yet. So I haven't picked out any fire colors, but for the dragon itself, this is the color that I used for the picot edges. So this is gonna go in the dragon body. And then I gotta find a black, which that color is staying the same. She wants the dragon purple, not green. Duh. So this goes in the dragon body, the black also, I just haven't pulled it out yet. Then I'm gonna do this one, which is kind of shiny. So I'll do like this for the belly and the wings, and this for the main body, and then black. So that's my progress. I just have to duplicate stitch the dragon, sew the buttons, block it again, and then it's done. I'm almost done with this, which I'm really excited about. And I have like so much blue left over. I think I've talked about this before, but the stitch count went down so much. My final stitch count is 22,146. That's basically 2,000 less stitches than I thought I was going to need for this project. Every time I made a change, it just kept, and also I think my gauge was a little bit bigger in real life than it was in the swatch. So I wasn't needing quite as many rows as I thought to hit certain points. But still, 22,000 versus the 24 that I thought I needed. So I have a lot of yarn left over, which I'm not mad about. It is what it is. Anyways, I'm gonna do the dragon. Duh. Okay, good news. We've officially finished. What's that pattern called? We've officially finished the Summer Child Knitted Top by Sari Nordland. Slay. Let me show you. Ta-da! Dragon motif. My assistant did request I put this little heart on it. That's fair. She also requested an update to the cat, some hearts. This actually looks so cute on her. You'll notice that there's no buttons. She asked for no buttons. I'm not going to argue with that. I think that's a great idea. So no buttons. And it fits her really well, actually. It fits her very well. And I was thinking if it still fits her by the time fall comes around, I will probably just add sleeves and turn it into a sweater. It actually really works out that I didn't do any kind of picot edge on the arms, and so that I can turn it into a sweater in the fall if I want to, which I'm loving. I really like the color variation in the mint. It was cut and tied on in a couple of different spots. And you can even see there's color variation in the leftovers as well. This is how much yarn I have left over, 49 grams. And I didn't use this ball of yarn at all, but it kind of seems like they were cut and tied together at some point. Anyways, I didn't end up using or needing to use this at all, but I will probably use them together for some project in the future. So these will go back on my mint shelf. Let's look at our stats. Originally I had 153 grams of the mint yarn that I used, not including this little ball, because I counted them separately in the spreadsheet I was only going to use this one if I ran out and I needed to. So anyways, I had 153 grams of the mint yarn and now I have 49 grams. Yes, that's right. I wasn't sure. Now I have 49 grams. So I used 104 grams of the mint yarn out of my stash. That brings our mint total down from 3,081 to 2,977. That's the mint totals. Then the yarn totals, because I used the purple and obviously other colors for the duplicate stitching. I've decided to make a totals sheet on my spreadsheet so that I can keep track of, as we're rolling for the color and weighing and cataloging the yarn, I can keep a running total so far of everything that I've cataloged. And then so that's kind of like ins. And then the spreadsheet has outs, the projects that I've made and how much yarn they used. And so then I can kind of keep track of current total. That makes sense. So this tank top took 119 grams of yarn total. I just weighed the tank top. Another reason why I have to weigh the project instead of the yarn before and after is because for the duplicate stitching, like the red and orange, my scale is in grams. So if I'm using less than 1 gram of yarn, it's not going to even register. Oh, and like the pink, for the pink duplicate stitching, I only used a length of yarn that was like this long. That's not going to pick up on my scale if I just weighed the pink ball. So anyways, it's easier to put all the yarn into the project and then weigh the project. It picks up on those discrepancies better. Anyways, after the mint tank top, which took 119 grams, our total yarn stash so far, after 5 shelves, is 10,537 grams. Incredible. I liked making this. It's fun to make kid size stuff because it's small and it goes faster. And it still took up, 120 grams. And I did learn several things from this project. First of all, I learned a little bit more about a picot stitch and how many total rows before and after the knit two togethers contributes to the picot. Turns out it's 5. And then I had to learn that freaking lesson about duplicate stitching and intarsia and really what the best technique is. Duplicate stitching is so flat and it looks very uniform, which I really appreciate. You can tell on the cat, which I haven't reblocked the cat specifically. I don't even know if I will, to be honest. I'm over it. It is what it is, and I've learned this lesson, and hopefully going forward into the future, I won't make this mistake again, and that's what knitting is about, learning. So like the head of the cat looks so good and uniform, and this middle body part looks stupid. And there's like a clear line. So irritating. So not ideal. The best part is that she really likes it, and it looks so good on her. So maybe in a couple of months, the weather will turn and this will still fit and I'll be able to use the rest of this yarn to make 2 sleeves. And if I do that, I would love to do the purple picot around the cuffs. That would be so cute. This was a win. Even though I made a couple mistakes, I still think this is a win and she likes it. And I think it was a really good project for the mint shelf. I think that's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like these stash videos. It's really helping me actually go through my stash. So hopefully it's a win-win. Let me know which shelf you're hoping that we roll for in the next video. I think I'm hoping for green or cream maybe. But as always, I would love to show you the multi-color shelf because it's crazy looking. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one.